Hi, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Thursday edition live stream. We do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and today we're talking about something I'm insanely excited about, the Disneyland Rose, which is super amazing. We got them, they're here today, which is super great. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. So you can always put all your questions and stuff in the comments, and we'll answer those questions at the end of the live stream. So we really appreciate you guys joining us today. So welcome. My name is Sarah Smith. I'm a horticulturalist here at Rogers Gardens. And today, look at this gorgeous rose. This is what we're going to talk about today, the Disneyland Rose. We are super excited to have this here at Rogers Gardens. We have a really interesting connection with Disneyland. I'm sure if you've driven by and been in the store, you notice that we have a lot of really beautiful gazebos. We have the original bandstand gazebo here at Rogers Gardens from Disneyland, which is super amazing. It's up in our restaurant. It's so beautiful. It's really big. It's stripped down now. They've taken the white color off of it, so it's all the natural wood, and it's absolutely beautiful. And if you go to the farmhouse, you can actually eat in that gazebo, which is really great. And then on top of it, we have the official Disneyland Rose. So Disneyland has their own rose. It's this absolutely gorgeous color. It's kind of a coppery red and pinky orange color. It's really beautiful. The outside of the flower starts with this pink color, and as it opens, it gets more orange on the inside. Unfortunately, my rose here doesn't have any buds on it. I was really hoping it would pop in time for the video, but it's not there. You can kind of see the color popping out on it. But what's really nice about this rose is it's a very disease resistant rose, which is great because we have so much of a marine layer here that we really struggle sometimes with powdery mildew and rust problems, and this rose is very resistant to that, which is amazing. It's a bush type rose too, which is great, so it doesn't get too terribly tall. And it's a floribunda, meaning that when it flowers, you have multiple flowers on the end of the stem. So it's almost like individual little bouquets, which is really cool. And if you've ever been to Disneyland, I'm so excited because it's opening soon. You can see these roses at the entrance of the park, and they also have it in the California Adventure. So if you walk in there, you can see that rose there. But it's the official rose of Disneyland, which is really beautiful. And the color is just so nice because it really blends itself well and to other colors, which is really beautiful, having that kind of pretty orangey pink color. We have some roses getting stocked right now, so that's what you're seeing going on there. But so it's a low compact rose, so it's a shrubby type rose. And then having the little multiple stems on it is really great because each little stem looks like its own miniature bouquet. So it's a really good cut rose, even though it's a floribunda. Floribundas typically aren't a common cut rose, but this one actually really lends itself well to that. And just like with regular roses, it's a typical care kind of routine with this. I love our Down to Earth is a rose. The rose and flower fertilizer is a really great one, and I use that once a month on that. And then because it's so disease resistant, it doesn't require a lot of spraying, which is really great. So if you do happen to have issues with roses, with having mildew and rust problems, we carry a really great product called the Safer 3-in-1, and that works really awesomely with helping that. And also the Rose 3-in-1 has a little bit of that insecticidal soap in it, which is really great. So that works well with issues with aphids and things like that too. So is there any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a few.
Awesome. So we'll get these in today. We have this one here as our sample. They're actually unloading the truck right now. So you can come in today and actually get your Disneyland roses. We had a little bit of these in the beginning of the year. I think we had them in February. We got about 50 of them in, so I actually planted mine already. I cut mine back pretty significantly, so I don't have any buds on mine. These ones that are coming in have buds already, which is really great. But mine's still a little bit just getting some of its leaves and stuff, because when I got it, I cut it back all the way and I stripped the leaves off of it as well. So it's starting to leaf out, and it's just so pretty. It's got a really great glossy green leaf that I think is really beautiful. Even compared to like some of my other taller roses, I think the shape of this is really, really nice.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And
Yeah.
Quick question. Someone's asked for you to reiterate on the watering for the rose.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So roses are really deep rooted, and they really, the biggest key with watering is you want to make sure you don't get water on the foliage. That's where they really have issues, because if you get the water on the foliage, you can cause burning issues because the water is reflective, and the rose leaves can be a little bit tender on the bottom. And then that also is when we start getting more of that mildew problem. So that's the biggest thing we struggle with roses is mildew issues. But that's the easiest thing to control if you're treating your rose right. Basically, you want to deep water and slow water. So I use the hose. I don't use sprinklers around my roses because I don't want all that mist kicking up and getting on the leaves. And I water mine about once a week. I live really coastally, so I cut that back, of course, in the wintertime, and I'm paying attention to the rain and stuff as well. But I just deep soak my roses. So I essentially put the hose down and just let it run, and then go work on things, trim stuff back, and then just move that from rose to rose to rose, basically. So you're getting that low, deep watering, and then you want it to really dry out in between. Roses are actually fairly drought tolerant because they have such deep roots, which is nice. Things that tend to be surface rooted require more water, but because they're so deep rooted, that low and slow water method is the best one to use.
Awesome, thanks. And then how would these do in a large pot?
So roses in pots, I have really mixed feelings about that. You really want to have them in a big container because they are very deep rooted. And the problem with roses I find in pots is the watering. Because the roots are above ground and your pot is typically getting warm, they can struggle a little bit with that. So you got to make sure with that, I would say probably twice a week watering. And you want to make sure that you have it in a pot that's not going to heat up too much. So I would stay away from plastic 100%. Only use maybe something that's glazed. Even just like a regular terracotta might be a little hard on it. And then kind of make sure that you're putting it someplace where it's not getting a ton of radiant heat. So not right up against a house. Because I've seen roses in pots have issues with stuff like that. So you can do it, but make sure you get a nice big pot. I would even mulch underneath them. I don't mulch underneath my roses too much that I have in the ground, but if I had one in a pot, I would definitely mulch underneath that too, because that will help keep those roots cool and not too hot.
Okay, and then can you tell us about the size? Like, what's the maximum height and width?
Yeah, so this is a low guy, which is really great. So typically you're going to see about like 3 feet, 3 by 3, but remember, you're going to cut that back every single year. And when you cut it back, you're going to cut it back and strip it. That's really an important thing to do. That helps with it not having any of the carryover from last year's issues onto the rose to this year's issues. I cut them back, strip them, and I copper spray them when they're just the dormant little stems. But yeah, 3 by 3, it's a low guy, which is really super cute. It's so compact. And the first time I ever noticed this rose was at Disneyland. I walked into the California Adventure and they had it planted around some trees right when you first walk in there. And I thought, that color is fantastic. I didn't even realize it was their special rose. And then when they started talking about us getting in the Disneyland Rose, I Googled it and realized, oh, that's the one that's in the park. So it's super, super pretty. And I noticed so many people stopping and looking at it. It has kind of a spicy fragrance to it. It's not super heady. It's kind of got more of a spicy rose fragrance instead of a super heady rose fragrance. I love it. It's so pretty.
Okay, that's awesome. So one question we have is there a way to increase rose production?
So fertilize. I fertilize once a month. I use a down to earth fertilizer, and then I use the Malibu compost tea. So I know if you've watched any of these, I talk about the Malibu compost tea all the time. Roses was the first thing I ever used that on, and that's when I really kind of fell in love with it because it works so well. It's so amazing. So when I started using the Malibu compost tea, I basically just fertilized underneath my rose. The down to earth is just granular. I use about 1/4 of a cup to a cup, depending. In the beginning, I do a little bit more, and I just put it underneath, and then I water it in with that Malibu compost tea. So that just kind of helps get it into the soil. But it really, really increased my rose size and made them way, way more resistant to pest issues and to fungal issues. I also use Epsom salt. I only Epsom salt my roses in the beginning of the season. So just regular plain Epsom salt. So make sure you're not using something that has any kind of fragrance or coloring in it. But that helps with the color of the roses, makes them a little bit more vibrant. I know a lot of people continue to use it through the season. I only use it in the very beginning. But I live very coastally, so I have also noticed that my rose color is a little bit different than like the roses that you're going to get more inland. So I think I don't want my roses too dark and deep, and I tend to have dark, deep colors on my roses because I am more coastal than if you're living even in like Fountain Valley and places like that. It gets a little bit warmer and stays warmer at nighttime. That's the key there. So a lot of times if you live more inland, people will use that Epsom salt more often on the rose.
Thank you. And then when do you cut them back?
Okay, so I cut mine back. I always try to do it right after Christmas if I can. So the very latest you want to do it is in like mid-January. You definitely don't want to get too late and start doing it in February. So in between December and January typically is when you want to cut back your roses. I find if I cut them back right after Christmas, I tend to actually start getting some even a little bit more buds and things. Like I'm already starting to get some buds on some of my older established roses at home. My Disneyland one, because it's so new, I just planted it. I think we got them in I'm trying to remember when we got them. I think I planted it in December. So it was a late planting for that, but I don't have buds on that one yet. But I already have buds on a lot of my roses at home.
Okay, that's awesome. So Sarah, those are all the questions that we have for today.
Nice. Yeah, come in and get your Disneyland Rose. They're so, so pretty. When we first got them in, we had such a run on them. I think we sold them out in like just a couple of days. But it was just because we had a very small release of them. Now we're actually going to get a lot more, but I do anticipate these probably selling out because it's so popular. And the amazing thing is, come in and pick up your rose. Go check out the bandstand. It's actually just right over there, which is really amazing. And that is the symbol, our Rogers Garden symbol. We have a replica of it out on the street there. And then all our little booths all look like little gazebos. So it's ingrained in our culture here. So it's really exciting to be able to have this Disneyland Rose here at Rogers Gardens, which is great. So come in and get your Disneyland Rose, which is amazing. So see you guys. Make sure that you check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page. We post all these videos there. We make all of our announcements about the new things coming in. Our spring opening is happening this Friday, which is really exciting, the 19th, and goes on into May. And we really make the store absolutely gorgeous for spring opening. All of our display gardens are getting redone. We have all kinds of really special surprises in store for you all with some of our plants that we're getting in. We're going to be doing a weekly plant of the week. So this is our first week of that. We'll be doing another one next week on Thursday as well. And then also our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page. There's so many great videos there. They go back ages, so you can see all the different videos that we have stocked up there. Make sure to tag any of your Disney loving people in this video so they can see what we have going on. And you can always shop our online boutique as well, and we're doing curbside pickups, and we also do delivery here in Orange County. So be well, be safe, and happy gardening. Bye everybody.